Hey guys, so today I thought I would do a video just talking about my experience of doing a hairdressing course at a college as technically as an older student, and sort of how it went, sort of what I liked, what I didn't like, and all that sort of jazz. I got inspiration from a video that I watched. I'll leave his channel down below. We've been talking about it over the past couple of weeks, or past week or so, just talking about like we had a couple of the same tutors, like who we didn't like, who we liked, and all that sort of jazz. And from his video, he was badly treated, and um, well, I sort of had the same experience. So I started college in 2000 and I think it was 2016, so I would have been about 23. I'm now 27, just to give you a rough idea. So it's about 2015. So you start in September of 2015. It's a year-long course, so you finish in 2017. No, 2016, sorry. Yeah, that's right. So level one was fine. The tutor I had, absolutely. Both tutors, we had two different tutors, so we were in on a Wednesday and on a Friday. And both tutors were just great. Like, I had literally no experience whatsoever of doing hairdressing. I decided to do it simply because a couple of people from my church and a guy I was dating, the lad I was dating, um, he also encouraged me as well. And because he saw that I was obviously doing my sister's hair and all that sort of stuff, and they were just all like, "Oh, why don't you do hairdressing? Why don't you do hairdressing?" So I'm like, "All right, cool, I'll give it a shot." So I went. Level one, it's fine, no issues whatsoever. I kept myself to myself. I was, pretty shy. Well, I won't say shy, more quiet. I didn't really know anyone because obviously they're all like 16 to 18 mainly, and there's me at 23. So obviously they had their assumptions, which were wrong. But I never had any issues from my tutors whatsoever. They were really nice and sort of really helpful. So my tutor on a Wednesday, nicest person you'll ever meet. Uh, Same with the tutor on a Friday. She made things look so easy. Like the things I couldn't get my head around, just she explained it so easily to me and sort of explained it properly. And level one, perfectly fine, no issues. It wasn't until I got into with any of my tutors, any problems with work experience, nothing like that. So I'm just gonna quickly just move on to doing level two. So level two, before we even got on to doing level two, we all had an interview with the head of college just to see if we wanted to continue. And for some reason, my interview was over at the other campus, which was about an hour bus journey away. Even though, like, the other college, the smaller college that we went to, was closer and it's easier to get to. And, like, I thought nothing of it. I didn't know more way around the college or anything like that. So I asked, obviously, uh, somebody, like, where the hairdressing department was and all that. So I got showed where it was, went for my interview, and she was just like, "Oh, would you be happy coming to this college?" And I was like, "Well, not really, no, because at the end of the day, like, it's a mission to get to because of where I am and because of my home situation. It's like it's harder because I'm having to get up twice as early to do everything I need to do to get to the college, and it's just like when the other one's closer, and she's like, "Well, have you thought about doing an apprenticeship?" I'm like, "Love, I don't want to do an apprenticeship. Like, it's just not my scene." But there was enough of us. Sorry. Um, there was enough. There's enough of us that wanted to do level two to continue with the course. So you have to. So the limit is you have to have. There has to be at least 12 people on the course to do level 2, to do any kind of course. That's like the minimum is like 12 people, and if you've got 12 people, then you can continue with the course. So we had, I think that was about 12 of us actually. Yeah, there's about 12 of us, and like I was happy not to go over to the other campus, even though like you could tell even just by going to that college, like that college, the main college is favoured so much more than the smaller college. Like no one really says it is, but if you know, you know that it is. And I didn't have many clients because the majority of the clients I had, well, people that I knew myself, were either men, either at work or just busy doing something else. Like they didn't have the time to come down and get their hair done and blah blah blah. And that's where it sort of started going downhill. My tutor, we had a specific tutor at the time, so we had like an induction for level 2, and um, she just she just didn't seem that bothered. Like she didn't seem all that interested in teaching us. So, and she was more bothered about, like, she was always making comments about, oh, my students over the other campus do this, this, and this, and oh, they're great, and blah blah blah. And we sort of got the impression that she was preferred them lot. And then she left, so we got another tutor, and then she was moved over to the other campus, and then we got another tutor after that, and then she she had family issues. I think there was some up with her kids. I think her kids became ill, so she couldn't carry on teaching us. And then we got a barbering tutor, which, if anyone knows, hairdressing and barbering are completely two different things. So um, I always felt like I didn't really learn much, because level 2 was more of like, well, oh, I don't do hairdressing. I haven't done hairdressing for a certain amount of years, and it's, oh, I find ladies hairdressing boring and blah blah blah. And then from there, it was a lot of just sort of trying to be encouraged to go to do an apprenticeship, to um, just little comments here and there about the fact that I was 24, 25 at the time, sort of, oh, should you be around these lot because they're quite young, you know, you should really, look at doing something different, or doing an apprenticeship or doing this or doing that. And it just wasn't for me. There was another girl on my course who I was quite close with, and she was having some issues, having some real tough times, and college was a distraction for her. And yet, there was no help whatsoever with her, no support, anything like that. It was more of like, oh, she doesn't fit what we want as a student, so we're gonna push her out. We're gonna encourage her to leave and blah blah blah, which I thought was the complete opposite thing to do. I just felt like level 2 was an absolute shambles. Like, we didn't have many clients because, oh, you're at this campus, it's because of this and it's because of that. And it's like, no, it's simply because you couldn't be asked to get the clients in because you don't know what you're doing. I had one client who I'd asked to come along from church. Now, she's deaf. She's got the cochlear implant thing. I don't know. But she's got that. And obviously she had to take that out because we were doing the roller sets. And so I had to talk quite loudly to her. Well, not loudly, but like I had to stand in front of her and speak clearly. And this there was this one time that she came in, and there was this woman. She got nothing to do with hairdressing whatsoever. Like, I think she was sort of like I think she was teaching the beauty girls or something. I don't know. But uh, she just came in, gave me a dirty look because I was like having a laugh and a joke with my client, and then she made a comment and was like, "Well, you shouldn't be having a laugh and a joke with your client, blah blah blah. You should be professional and blah blah blah." And she just made me feel uncomfortable, made me feel like a twat, basically. I shouldn't really swear, but there you go. Um, but yeah, it just wasn't fun. Like I hated level two. Level two was probably the worst because of that particular tutor, because she was predominantly barbering. I just didn't feel like I learned anything because it was all, oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, do this again and I'll pass you off then. It was almost like she didn't want to teach us because she didn't know what she was doing. It was almost like they couldn't be bothered to get a proper hairdressing tutor in to teach us because they weren't bothered about us lot, because they weren't bothered about the smaller campus. It's like, oh yeah, they'll be fine with a predominantly barbering tutor. Fast forward to doing level three, and it was just annoying. Again, we had a tutor because because there was only four of us. Well, technically three, but yeah, there was only four of us doing level three. We had to go over to the other campus because we had to make up the numbers, and we had a particular tutor that um just wasn't all that bothered in teaching us. Like she was like, if she was if she knew what students had the skills, like didn't need to be taught, didn't need to be like properly uh sort of talked through like what to do and all that sort of stuff. And so she sort of favoured them lot. And me, I felt like I didn't really learn much because obviously the year before that, doing level two, we had for the most of it, we had a predominantly barbering tutor. So what are you going to pick up from her, really? When she even turned around and said, "Oh no, we don't do that anymore. I find ladies' hairdressing's boring." I'm like, "Love, you're meant to be teaching us like women's hairdressing. Why say that?" It's just stupid. But the tutor that we had, she favoured the ones who had the skills, the ones who, you know, oh, this person is really good at colouring, this person's really good at doing foils, this person's really good at doing that. So she'd favoured them, and she would always like sort of, and then she would pick me out because I was quiet, and she would make like little comments about like, oh yeah, you should be doing this at this time, and this you should be doing this, and you should be doing that. I'm like, yeah, I should be doing all them, but you ain't gonna teach me though. You're gonna show me what to do and all that though, are you, love? And that was how it was. Again, she didn't stay around for long, so we ended up doing. She decided that we were gonna do colour correction for some reason. Um, I then decided at Christmas that for some reason she was now ill and wasn't going to teach us no more. So from like, I think it was before Christmas actually. I think it was around November time she left, and we had a barbering tutor, which drove me up the wall. So we had two different tutors. So I think we were in Wednesdays and Fridays again. I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But Wednesdays we had the predominantly barbering tutor, and then Fridays we actually had like a proper, we had a proper hairdressing tutor who knew her shit, who knew like, you know, this person is, encouraging on this person needs encouraging on that, this person needs, just to show how to do this a bit better. And I absolutely loved her. Like, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Like, she showed you how to do it, like step by step. And if you weren't confident, then she wouldn't give you that client. Or if you knew how to do it, then she'd give you that particular client. And then if she felt like you needed to be pushed a little bit more, then she would still give you that client and like come and help you and all that sort of stuff. So level 3 was really great. But again, I had some issues with transport, with just some of the other students really. Like I felt like because of my home situation, I was always getting up twice as early. So the course would start at 9:30, and it was almost like it was, especially with the Barbary, especially with the other girls on our course, it was almost like one rule for them and another one for us. So I decided to test the theory to see whether there was favouritism or not. So obviously you're having to turn up in all black because obviously that's your uniform. And the one week I decided to just, you know, I was at this point, I think it was around February of 2018. I think, yeah, about February time of 2018 of doing level 3. I just got fed up and I was just like, all right then, let's test the theory of the favouritism or not. So I decided I was gonna stick on a pair of blue jeans. So I stuck my blue jeans on, pair of trainers, and went to college like it. Got screwed out. Got pulled up by my tutor, by my barbering tutor. The head of college had words with me and all this, and like the other snooty woman who made comments when I was doing my level 2 in front of my client from church. They were all sort of having a pop. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be wearing that. You should be in correct uniform. Blah blah blah. I can't, saying that I couldn't work on a client today because I wasn't in my correct uniform and all this. And I'm just like, but the other girl who's been at Blossomfield since level 3, she wore a pair of jeans last week and she was able to work on a client. Well, because of this, and this. It's like, no, get your facts right, love. You've got favouritism. You prefer the other girls to us lot. And so when we wear something, we get picked up on it. When they wear something, they don't. And it's like, I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get everything ready, to get everything done and sorted before I even left the house. I'd leave the house at 8 o'clock and still get to college on time, even though it's an hour bus journey. It was a bus journey into the to the area, and then it was about a 10-minute bus journey then to actually so you would get a bus. So from where I live, you'd get a bus into the town centre, which took about an hour, and then you get off the bus at the town centre, and then you'd either get the bus from where I lived, you'd either get a bus from where I lived to the town centre, or you could stay down and get off at the train station and then walk from the train station up to the college, or you could get off at the town centre, jump another bus that was like 2-3 bus stops away. It was like 2-3 bus stops, and then you was at the college. Not even that, I think. It was like just like one bus stop, and then you were at the college then. Like, there was girls that lived about 10-15 minutes from the college, and they were still waking up late, But the hair was done, the makeup was done, and all that. They didn't have the correct uniform, they never had the kit, never had anything. And they were like, oh, I woke up late, and they were still allowed to work on clients. The one week, I didn't bring my kit. My scissors, my brushes, anything like that. Didn't bring any of it, any of it. Turned up in a pair of jeans, turned up late, and I got moaned at. I got put on reception. Now, when you're on reception, you're supposed to be kept an eye on by somebody, simply because, obviously, like, they're there to handle the money and to handle to make sure you're doing it all right and to pass you off. Now, the woman that I had that was supposed to watch me over, she was over in and out of the reception area. She was either going for a fag, grabbing a drink, grabbing something to eat, having a chat to other staff members or whatever. Like, it just seemed like she wasn't interested. Still got passed off for doing reception and all that, but it just wasn't the same. And then once one of the girls on my course told her that she had a client, told her that her client was there, but because she was too busy having a little yap to her mate, she didn't listen. So I just sent her in, and then I got popped at by the girl because she wasn't ready. And I'm just like, well, at the end of the day, love, I told you like 3 different times that your client was here and that you need to get your stuff ready. The tutor told you to get stuff ready, and you weren't listening. And it was always like, they thought they were in charge because it's their college or whatever. I never felt like I really learned much from the barbering tutor because, she always sort of was always like, oh, she always favoured the chattier ones, and I was the only one that ever bought the textbook. I always managed to get my work done, and yet there was always seems to be some sort of problem with, my practical side of things, like whether that be like, my foils, whether it be the way I've done a colour, where I've done a cut or anything like that. Like she always had something to pick up on, or if anyone that knows me, I am quite sarcastic and I sort of like crack jokes and stuff like that, just to sort of lighten the mood and that. And she just didn't seem to like that either. So I don't know. I mean, if I could do my time again, like, and I could like pick who I wanted for tutors, I'd hands down have my tutors from like level one, level two. No, from level one. My two tutors from level one, and the one tutor that I had on a Friday for level three, hands down, because they were so nice and just it was just easier because they taught you properly, like they showed you the ropes. Whereas the one tutor that I had, we'll call her we'll call her Susie. Her name's not actually Susie, but yeah, her mum lives down the road from me, and I always felt like, she was always a bit funny with me because obviously, like, we lived in the same, well, me and her mum lived on the same road. I was always chatting to her mum just to be polite, really. But she was never really good to it. She was always in and out of the classroom, like, she would always leave us to it and go out for a fag. She'd also go out for a fag with her students as well. Which, if anyone knows, you're not supposed to do that because it's inappropriate. And, it just wasn't great, basically. Like, she always favoured the chattier ones, the ones that were really good at doing hairdressing already. And I just sort of I've kind of felt like I got overlooked a lot. Most of us did, really. And like when it came to exams as well, like they were never really told. You were never really told when you were going to have an exam. It was just like you were told one day you were going to have an exam, and then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, it's today instead. Like, so you do revision for that day, and it's like, so like you do revision the one day, and it's like it's supposed to be next week, and it's like turns out it's the next day or whatever it is. So it's on the Friday. I always got really stressed out about that. And she was always like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Do your bit of a revision." The barbering shit was trying to make it like make it like light-hearted about it. But I'm just like, love, you have no idea. Like, I absolutely hate revising for exams because it never sticks. And level three was really hard for me, especially the exam wise. And she was always like, "Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." I'm like, level three was the most stressful year of my life. Like, literally. Like, the exams were just so absolutely bloody stressful. It was ridiculous, like, how stressed out I was. And she's just there like, "Oh, you'll be fine, you'll be fine." I'm like, love, shut up, wind your neck in and get out my face. I just couldn't deal with it. But in the end, I passed. Luckily, passed level three. I then decided I wanted to do barbering. And it just, oh, again, I honestly, hand on heart, wish I never done barbering because it was just the worst year of my life. Because like, I never felt like I was taught much. Like, I just felt like it was a waste of time me even doing it. Like, yeah, I really liked it because I really wanted to do the barbering course, but again, it was that same tutor again. Like, she just, yes, she was that was her field. It was barbering. But I never felt like she taught me anything. Like, she would show me once and that was it. and I can't learn on that. Like, I need to be shown over and over again what to do before I've got the hang of it. And I just felt like she wasn't interested in showing me what to do. So, and again, I was encouraged to leave that course as well, because obviously there was I was being late. I didn't come in till lunchtime, till after lunchtime sometimes. Um, I didn't have any male clients that would come in regularly, and so like I just really struggled. But I really hope that, my experience and, my experiences don't put you off doing hairdressing, because it is a really good course, and it is, at the end of the day, you are learning a service, you are learning a trade, and it will stick with you. Like, I've learnt so much from doing hairdressing. Like, I've learnt, what colours are right, like how to colour hair properly, how to cut, what plaits to do, and all that. Don't get me started with because I couldn't do them for anyone. I'm rubbish at that. But, just little things like that, like, I really enjoyed. So, yeah, that's that's my experience, really. And if you tend to take anything away from it, just take away that, if you are going to do hairdressing, don't worry so much about the tutors. Focus on what you're doing yourself and be done with it. You'll make some like really good friends. You'll meet some really nice people, and that's the best thing you can do, because you're gonna make some great friends. You're gonna go on to have an amazing job. Yes, some clients are gonna be an absolute pain in the ass, but some are just gonna be really nice, and you'll find that out. And that's that. So that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments like what sort of video you want me to do next. And yeah, that's it. Bye guys.